This is Earl with Career Logic. Today we're going to talk about the 5 different recruiter types that are going to get you a job in 2020. Today I just want to explain what are recruiters and what do they do day to day, and what are the 5 that you're going to be dealing with when you want to change careers or move up in your career. So let's get into it. So number 1, third-party recruiters, retained or employer paid. Okay, so these recruiters are people who are usually paid about 20% of the upfront of the employee's salary. So say you are going to be getting employed for $100,000. These third-party recruiters will get a 20% cut from the employer after you are hired, after a contingency plan is made, which is usually you've been in the job for 90 days, then they'll give you $20,000. They'll give $20,000 to the recruiter, okay? These type of recruiters are usually people who scour LinkedIn. They're very active. They reach out to you if you are an absolute match for the job. Most of the time they're looking for people who are a match for the job, not for to move people up in their career, but to mostly match them with what they currently are doing now. And these recruiters tend to be the most reliable with contacting you right away if you have an offer, or if they're very interesting to them, they will always stay in touch with you. It's always good to have some of these recruiters in your pocket when you're looking for a job change if something happens unexpectedly, but they will fight for you tooth and nail to get the most salary for you, because to be honest with you, the more salary that you get paid, the more they get paid. So that actually is more advantageous that you get paid the most in your position, so they can get paid extra. So these recruiters are really good to utilize from time to time if you want a career change horizontally, so not so much going up, but just really wanting to move to a different company and do the same thing. These recruiters are really good to utilize in that fashion, but yeah, that is third-party recruiters. Number 2, internal HR recruiters. So these are recruiters that are typically employed by the employer. They're not external recruiters or contingent or retained. These are recruiters that work within the HR department that help bring employees in. These recruiters are much more different and not really incentivized to really get you in fast. They're more about denying potential applicants that could not be a fit. They're usually monitoring the ATS system, which is an acronym for applicant tracking systems, which can tend to be very clunky, where they look for keywords within your resume, and we'll talk about that in another video about how keywords are so important in your resume to get noticed in ATS systems. But they're usually the people who tend to want to only interview about 4 people and hire 1, whereas a contingent or retained recruiter that's a third party would want to actually put as many applicants in front of the employer as much as possible. The internal recruiter won't want to do that as much. They will only have 4 people actually go to the employer and actually interview. These recruiters tend to be the hardest to work with and hardest to get past. So if you get contacted by one of these recruiters, you are very sought after and you are pretty much a direct match. It's kind of your job to lose at that point. But most of the time you won't be contacted by these recruiters most of the time, and they mostly are not really actively searching on LinkedIn. They're really just managing their ATS system. So number 3 is headhunters, applicant paid. So these people are usually people that tend to be paid by the candidate who's actually looking for a job. So these recruiters tend to revamp your LinkedIn, revamp your resume, realign your career skills and your career aspirations and try to find a job for you. They're actively searching for you in all the job forums, talking to connections that they have, talking to all your connections that might have employment opportunities. So they try to align you as much as they can to get you a career that's either growing your career and giving you a stronger base salary. Of course, it's in their best interest because they're getting paid by you. So people who tend to use these recruiters tend to be people who are in higher levels, not so much mid-level employees. People who are executives that try to find a job that aligns with their past job that they had before. But I mean, feel free to use them. they will ask for a substantial retainer fee for them to look for you, but this is something to know up front. Number 4, staff agency recruiters. So staffing agencies are typically companies that are doing multiple different roles off of different planes. They have contract recruiting. They're doing some direct hit recruiting. So what I mean by direct hit, they usually bring people in without a contract. You're a direct employee of that employer. But they typically work on contract recruiting, you know, tech systems, aerotech, you know, bar tech, or Robert Half. These are staffing agencies where they have multiple recruiters that have multiple different segments of business. So Robert Half tends to have, you know, they have law recruiters, they have accounting recruiters. Aerotech has tech recruiters, engineering recruiters. So these people look for contract employment in these different companies. Or say you're working in, you know, Microsoft as a contract engineer. You'll have 2 years in that contract, making, you know, $60, $70 an hour, and you'll be getting paid through Aerotech, right? You'll be getting your insurance through Aerotech, but you're working for that employer. So that's what typically staffing agencies do. They typically do direct hire roles too as well, because most companies don't really like to bring too many vendors in for recruiting aspects, so they tend to use them for like a one place to capture all their needs as far as recruiting. But that's something for you to know for the staffing agencies, that they're contacting you about a contract role, or they might contact you about a direct hire role. Most of the time it's going to be for a contract role though. So number 5, the last one, is executive career managers. These people tend to have many career coaches and career consultants on staff. They usually require a upfront fee where they will reposition you in the marketplace as, you know, a respective employee that could do so many different roles, and they try to really reposition you. The problem is with executive career management is that sometimes it could feel for even the employee that they've been scammed somehow, because they don't really guarantee you a role. They're really just career coaching you and how you can actually approach a different role, or write you a resume, or give you experience in interviewing with a different company, so interview prep and all the things that a career coach would do. But you pay a big premium for that. You pay about a good $15,000 to $10,000 for actually getting you in with these people. And if you're working, I guess it would make sense for you to actually use them, and to, like, I mean, if you're a manager and you want to be a VP and trying to reposition yourself to get those type of roles, maybe use them. But once you go over the $4,000 mark, it's kind of hard to justify the costs and the ROI from that. It's really honestly personal preference. Personally, I wouldn't use another company to get me into a role I really want to. I would try to get advice from mentors or something like that, and how to position yourself. You're kind of better off networking and spending money trying to find people to talk to in the roles that you want to be in, than to pay somebody that would reposition you to try to get a role. It just seems very arbitrary, actually. It just seems like it wouldn't be a logical decision to do that, but do what you will. So thank you again for watching the video this week about the 5 different recruiters you should be talking to get your career change in this year of 2020. Again, feel free to subscribe and hit the notification bell to get notifications when our next video is coming out. Obviously, we make a new video each week, starting on Monday. Also, feel free to look at our website, www.careerlogic.net, where we can actually help you with your career change one-on-one with either resume or LinkedIn optimization, or any other things that you need to do as far as your career growth. And yeah, until the next video, see you later. Take care.